Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross, and Jeff Goodman. Tonight, David Lefkowitz sits in for Jeff as we review West Side Story, 33 Variations, and Impressionism. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two on the Aisle. Good evening, I'm Charles Gross, and it's time for Two on the Aisle.
Hey, Charlie, and I'm Dave Lefkowitz, and always good to be here, even though it's even better when Jeff is here. But he'll be with us in spirit, and also, I'm sure, on our Tony show that we always do every year in just a couple of weeks from now.
Yes.
On to?
33 Variations. Now, I will tell you, one thing I loved about this show, it's a play, but it had a live musician playing. Now, this show is about a musicologist, played by Jane Fonda, who is trying to determine, toward the end of his life, Beethoven took a minuet, supposedly a mediocre one, and feverishly, over several years, wrote 33 variations of this minuet. Now,
he was asked to by the composer. The composer,
right, who was also a major publisher.
Right, yes. He went to all these different famous back then composers and said, you know, if you do this little variation on my theme, they'll all be compiled in a book, and I'll sell the book for a lot of money, and it'll be really great. And Beethoven at first refuses through his emissary, and then Beethoven changes his mind and becomes, on some level, obsessed with this particular little theme. And it takes him years. Meanwhile, he's doing the Ninth Symphony, he's doing the Missa Solemnis. So it's up to this musicologist to figure out what obsessed him about this tiny little piece of music that was...
And she, in turn, becomes obsessed with it. And just as Beethoven's health is failing and he's losing his hearing, so too she has Lou Gehrig's disease. So she is trying to, she knows her time is limited. And Beethoven has his secretary who on his card it said Beethoven's friend of Beethoven. And Jane Fonda has her daughter. In the play.
Although Fonda goes herself to Germany to look through the records.
But ultimately has people. And at some point it becomes like a parallel between her character and Beethoven. And at the beginning, that gets a little dull. But once you get into it, and then once the reasoning, at least the conclusions, become clear, then it gets interesting. And at first I said, okay, the mother's doing this, Beethoven's doing that, going back and forth, not very interesting. But the playwright...
Moises Kaufman, the guy who gave us the Laramie Project, and I think the Trials of Oscar Wilde, he did that as well.
Really manages to make it into something interesting. And I enjoyed it.
I totally agree with you. I mean, it's a nice play about people and ideas. That's what we go to the theater for. I'm not saying it's a great play. It's a little soap opera-ish, and there are times when I think Kaufman's showing off a little bit. I think what you were getting towards, at the very end of the first act, he goes into this fugue state, I guess that's probably not the right word, where all the characters are on stage at once, two different times, time zones, time periods, and they're all echoing each other, and one person is saying a line in the 1700s, and then another person is saying a line right now in a different context, and it's the same sentence, and they're all talking at once over each other, and it's approximating what it's like to do variations on the theme right there, but it's show-offy. It's too much. We know what the playwright's doing. It's not contributing anything. It's just cute. It's just him being like, oh, I can see what I'm doing. I'm being like Beethoven. Too much. The rest of the time when he doesn't go there, I like to play a lot more and just tell the story. You know, we'll get
when he's into the story. And again, I will say they have a live pianist on a Steinway playing the variations, which to me, just having it live the way Beethoven, would have been done in Beethoven's day, to me, I just love that because you seldom see that in a play, and it's a really, really nice touch.
It's a nice touch, and it's also important. One of the things I do like about the play is the investigation. Because I've been listening now to the Diabelli variations. I got a CD, I started listening to it, and I just gotten the CD without seeing this play. I would have been, oh, that's nice background music, because I'm not a musicologist. I don't think in those terms. But now, I'll think in terms of the play and think, aha, that first one is a march. And was he making fun of Diabelli by writing it dum dum da dum dum da da, or was he saying, no, I'm announcing the coming of all these variations in a very simple, straightforward way?
Or did Beethoven see something in that minuet that we all missed?
Well, obviously he did. So 33 different things, and they do get more especially the last bunch are more quiet and serene and profound, and it's
right.
you know,
there are no real standout performances here.
There were no, or there were?
There were not. It's very ensemble. You know, no one has a breakout performance, but it's solidly done. Jane Fonda.
She's very good.
As the musicologist. Yes. Samantha Mathis as the daughter. Colin Hanks, the other child of a famous actor.
Oh, he's Tom Hanks' kid.
He's Tom Hanks' kid.
He plays the boyfriend, the new boyfriend of Fonda's daughter. It's also the daughter's
and
story.
Also the nurse who helps treat Fonda's character when she first goes into the hospital.
Oh, right. Yes, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how they get together. And of course, Zach Grenier as
I
Beethoven.
usually like Zach Grenier a lot. He's very interesting and a little bit of an eccentric actor. I didn't quite care for him, even though he seems typecast to play Beethoven. He's got the hair, he's got the look, he's got the anger, but sometimes I found it hard to understand him. And maybe it's my hearing, because that's the second time I've mentioned this, but there's something a little too odd about him and a little too ranty all the time. And something about the way his mouth moves, whether he's talking
I thought he was
not.
fine. Certainly, I have to say this is the best play about a musicologist and Beethoven that I've ever seen.
Now, not the best play about, let's say, a composer from the 17 or 1800s.
No, I will say that. Now, you ask, why has there ever been another play about Beethoven and a musicologist? And the answer is yes.
Was it Beethoven's 10th?
Yes,
by
that's right. Yes.
I didn't see it.
You didn't miss much.
Oh, ouch, okay.
You didn't miss much at all. And this had one of my favorite actors in it, George Rose.
Oh, well. They can't all be...
No.
But no, we're both, I think, recommending this, not in a strong way, but I think it's a nice play. Some laughs, some tears, some thoughts.
And you get to see Jane Fonda.
Yeah,
and I will say all that exercising has paid off for
her. Okay.
She doesn't wear the bandana or the tights in the play, but...
Nor does she wear a bra for a certain scene, which I found a little shocking.
Ah, okay. You know what? I didn't notice that.
You didn't notice that? Okay. I noticed it.
Okay. Well, good for you.
Hey, can I notice something very cool I want to tell?
Absolutely.
Do a little plug for some of the many things that I'm doing trying to make a living in this world.
Well, let's start with one of my favorite magazines. Not only do I get this magazine, but I pay for it.
That's right. And is it worth it?
Oh, of course. Sure. Now, this is Performing Arts Insider, which tells you everything that's on, coming to, Broadway, off-Broadway, nightclubs. It calls itself the Bible of Broadway, and it really is. It keeps you, it's the only way to keep abreast of what's going on, what's happening, and what will be happening. You know, it's certainly for a theater professional, especially if you're a critic and you have to figure out, oh, I better call for tickets to this show, or this show's coming up, I better make some time for it. This is indispensable.
And this is also what the industry uses, like people who book for the morning TV shows or the late night TV shows. They get it because it has the contact information for casting directors and agents and managers and things like that. It's called Performing Arts Insider. If you want to find out more about it, please go to performingartsinsider.com. And thank you also for giving me this time to mention, which is something that I'm working on theatrically, sort of cabaret-ishly.
Okay.
People may know that for a few weeks I was doing a cabaret show for StageBuddy.com.
That's right.
Where you and Jeff were guests on the show, and also whole bunches of people, everything from stand-up comedians and magicians
and
to
singers.
Broadway actors and singers and stuff. It's been great fun, and so much fun that I'm going to move into a slightly different show for Stage Buddy starting in May. We're moving to the Players Theater down on McDougal Street, 2 blocks from the West 4th Street subway. Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock. It's going to be called Stage Buddy Talk. And be doing something like this, only I'll be interviewing some of those folks I mentioned, casting directors, directors, producers, filmmakers, critics, press agents, people involved in the business of making films and shows. And it's a longer, sort of more panel style. So if you have actors or you know people who want to get into the business, bring your resumes, because it's kind of a meet and greet thing and Q&A. It's going to be a real cool, fun, in-depth talk show, but also enjoyable, hopefully. Humorous, in a way. So
very nice. So kind of half talk show, half seminars on the theater.
Brilliant. That's exactly what it is. At the Players Theater starting Tuesday, May 5th, every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. For more information, please go to StageBuddy.com.
StageBuddy.com. Now, are any of your past shows on that yet?
They've been promising and promising to load the 15 shows I've done prior. Okay, so I think now they're chopping them up and going to do some segments.
So eventually, maybe we'll see David on.
You can see me in the trailer. I look.
Of course, you could see him. Of course, if you go to YouTube, you can see On The Aisle.
Yeah,
on YouTube, and you can see any past episodes, and very likely a play that you want to go see. We've probably got a review for it up there.
Very possibly. Yeah.